My wife, Lauren, used to be the love of my life, or so I thought. We've been married for 3 years, and at first, things were incredible. We did everything together, dinners out with friends, movie marathons on the couch, spontaneous road trips. We were that obnoxiously happy couple that everyone rolled their eyes at because we wouldn't shut up about how perfect we were for each other. Little did I know, though, that cracks had started forming way sooner than I realized. The first sign of trouble was how often Lauren would mention how hot she was, like, in a weird, self-obsessed way. She'd look in the mirror and say something like, "I'm way too good-looking to be with just one person," then laugh it off like it was a joke. I'd usually just brush it off too, because let's be real, confidence can be sexy, and I liked that she was proud of her appearance. But as the weeks turned to months, I noticed Lauren's jokes turned into half-serious remarks about how she was too pretty to ever be faithful. I'd try to laugh it off, but deep down, it unsettled me. I'm not stupid, I know infidelity happens, but I never imagined it would be something I'd personally deal with. Especially not with someone I trusted as much as her. Honestly, at first, I just chalked it up to her wanting attention. She'd flirt at parties with my friends, and it was uncomfortable. We'd get into small arguments about boundaries, but she'd always say, "Don't be so uptight, Brandon," or, "It's harmless, I'm just being friendly." The big red flag, though, was that these friendly gestures sometimes looked more like blatant come-ons. I started feeling uneasy whenever we went out. She'd wander off to talk to random guys at bars, leaving me standing there like an idiot. I should have known something was off, but I guess I was naive or maybe just too in love. That's the stage we were at when everything took a turn for the worse, and let me tell you, it turned in a pretty dramatic way. So, the day I found out about Lauren's cheating was bizarre, to say the least. I was sitting at the kitchen table flipping through my phone when I got a message from my buddy, Dylan. He said something like, "Yo, dude, not sure how to tell you this, but I saw Lauren getting really cozy with some guy at a bar last night." My heart skipped a beat. Normally, Dylan's not one to bullshit around serious stuff, he's pretty blunt and straightforward. So, I knew if he was telling me, it wasn't just gossip. At first, I chalked it up to Lauren's usual flirty behavior. I figured maybe Dylan was overreacting. But then he sent me a pic he'd snapped on his phone. In the picture, Lauren had her arms around this guy's neck, laughing in that way she used to when we first started dating. You know, that genuine, eyes-sparkling laugh. I'm not gonna lie, it felt like a punch to the gut. Still, I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was just a weird angle or she was drunk and being over-friendly. I spent the next hour or so telling myself 1,000 excuses to not freak out. But then, while I was pacing around the living room, trying to decide how to bring this up, I heard Lauren's phone buzz on the coffee table. She'd left it there while taking a shower, and for some reason, my gut told me to look. I know, going through someone's phone is an invasion of privacy. But trust me, if you'd gotten a message from your friend like that, you'd be tempted, too. I'd never done it before, but that day, I picked up her phone and saw a text notification from someone named Evan. At first, I thought it was some random coworker. Lauren works in marketing, and she's always swapping numbers with people. But the preview on the lock screen read, "Last night was insane. I can't wait to have sex again soon." My stomach lurched. My hands started shaking. It was like the worst roller coaster drop I've ever felt, but 1,000 times more intense. I hadn't even unlocked the phone yet, and I could already feel everything crumbling around me. I felt sick, like I might actually throw up right there on the carpet. And there it was, my confirmation. Lauren was not just flirting with random guys, she was actively sleeping with at least one. I'm not proud of this, but I did unlock the phone and scrolled through their messages. I wish I hadn't. Reading details about her hooking up with this Evan guy was like pouring salt into the open wound. Everything from, "You taste amazing," to, "Can't wait to break in your new lingerie." I remember my vision going blurry from tears and anger. Part of me still wanted to believe there was some misunderstanding. But when you read the words, "I loved every second of sucking your," well, there's no way around it. She was cheating, and I couldn't ignore it any longer. That moment was the harsh reality slap I never expected to get from the woman I married. I couldn't wait any longer. The rage and hurt I felt were boiling over, so I went straight to the bathroom, pounded on the door, and told Lauren to hurry up. She opened it, hair wrapped in a towel, face still damp, and she looked at me like I was a lunatic. "What's wrong with you?" she asked, rolling her eyes in that dismissive way she does whenever she thinks I'm overreacting. I just shoved the phone in her face, the text messages still open. I couldn't even form coherent words at first. My mouth was moving, but all I could get out was something like, "What the, how could, who is?" Finally, I managed to blurt out, "How long have you been sleeping with this Evan guy?" She stared at the phone, and for a split second, I saw real panic in her eyes. But it was like she flipped a switch and immediately switched to damage control mode. "Oh my God, you went through my phone," she snapped, as if that was the real crime here. "I can't believe you'd invade my privacy like that." I laughed, a short, bitter bark, because her reaction was so predictable. "Don't turn this around on me," I said. "I'm not the one sneaking off to have sex with random guys." My voice cracked in the middle of that sentence, which pissed me off even more. I didn't want to show any vulnerability, but I was hurt. Seriously hurt. She snatched the phone out of my hand. "You have no idea what you're talking about," she lied straight to my face. "It's not what it looks like." I felt my blood pressure spike. "Really? Because it looks like you're fucking some guy named Evan. You told him you loved every second of it. So go ahead, tell me how it's not what it looks like." At that point, Lauren tried a series of increasingly ridiculous excuses, everything from, "It was just a joke," to, "We didn't actually have sex, we were just texting about fantasies." But the messages were explicit, there was no way they were talking about hypothetical situations. I mean, come on, you don't describe the taste of someone's skin in that much detail if it's just make-believe. When I demanded she come clean, she finally yelled, "Fine. You want the truth? I need more than you can give me. I'm too damn pretty to be tied down to one man for the rest of my life." Her words hung in the air, and I felt an almost physical weight press down on my chest. She didn't just admit to cheating, she insulted me and justified it by saying she was too attractive to be loyal. I wanted to scream, to break something, to throw her phone against the wall, but instead, I just stood there, trembling, trying to wrap my head around what she'd just said. That was the first time I truly realized she had zero remorse. I'd loved her, respected her, and trusted her with everything, and she basically spat on our marriage. What the hell do you do with that? After that explosive confrontation, I knew things couldn't stay the same. Lauren stormed out of the bathroom, grabbing her purse and towel with a speed that suggested she had places to be and people to see. The door slammed shut behind her, leaving me alone with a mix of anger, betrayal, and a deep, gnawing sadness. I spent the next few hours in a daze, staring blankly at the walls of our once shared home. Every corner seemed to echo with memories of happier times, now tainted by her lies and infidelity. I couldn't believe it was over so quickly. Just 3 years together, and it felt like a lifetime of happiness had been erased in a single night. By late evening, reality started to set in. I couldn't just sit here forever. I needed to make some decisions. The first thing I did was call my friend, Mike. Mike and I go way back, college buddies who've been through thick and thin together. I needed someone to talk to, someone who wouldn't judge me for everything that was happening. "Mike, I need your help," I said, my voice shaky. He listened patiently as I recounted everything, Lauren's constant flirtations, the messages, the confrontation. When I finished, there was a brief silence before he responded. "Dude, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Do you need a place to crash tonight? I hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Yeah, I think I do. I can't stay here right now. Mike didn't question it. Come over. I'll have some food and maybe we can watch the game to take your mind off things. Grateful for the support, I grabbed my keys and headed out the door, leaving behind the remnants of a marriage that had turned into a nightmare. The drive to Mike's place was a blur. I couldn't focus on the road, my mind was racing with thoughts of what to do next. I felt like my entire world had been turned upside down. When I arrived at Mike's, he welcomed me in with a hug and a sympathetic look. Take a seat, man. Let's get you something to eat. We ordered some pizza and settled onto the couch. Mike didn't pry, he just listened as I vented about Lauren's betrayal. It was the first time I felt truly heard in days. As the evening progressed, we watched the game, and for a while, I managed to relax a bit. But deep down, the pain was still there, a constant ache that I couldn't ignore. The next morning, I woke up feeling a mix of exhaustion and determination. Staying at Mike's wasn't a long-term solution, and I needed to figure out how to move forward. I decided to take a walk to clear my head and maybe gain some perspective. As I wandered through the neighborhood, I bumped into Sarah, an old friend from work. She looked surprised to see me but greeted me warmly. We chatted for a bit, and she could tell something was wrong. I'm really sorry to hear about Lauren, she said gently. Is there anything I can do to help? I shook my head. I'm not sure yet. I just need some time to sort things out. Sarah offered to help me look for a new place if I needed to move out, and I appreciated the gesture more than I could express. Sometimes, having people around who genuinely care makes all the difference. As the day went on, I started to make a list of things I needed to do: find a new apartment, handle the logistics of separating our lives, maybe even consider counseling to deal with the emotional fallout. It was overwhelming, but taking it one step at a time made it feel more manageable. By the end of the week, I had secured a small but cozy apartment not too far from Mike's place. It wasn't much, but it was a fresh start. Moving out was tough, packing up our shared memories felt like ripping out pieces of my heart. But I knew it was necessary for my own well-being. Settling into the new place was a slow process. I spent days unpacking and organizing, trying to create a space that felt like mine. It was during this time that I realized how much I had taken for granted in our marriage. I had always assumed Lauren's confidence and outward happiness were signs of a strong, healthy relationship. Instead, they were masking deep-seated issues and her inability to commit. One evening, as I was setting up my new workspace, I received a call from Dylan. Hey man, how are you holding up? I sighed, leaning back in my chair. It's been rough, but I'm getting there. Thanks for being there for me. He offered some words of encouragement, reminding me that I deserved better and that healing would take time. It was a small comfort, but it meant a lot to know I wasn't alone in this. As the days turned into weeks, I began to find a semblance of normalcy. I threw myself into work, started exercising again, and even picked up a new hobby, photography. Capturing moments through a lens gave me a new perspective on life, helping me focus on the present rather than the past. But no matter how much I tried to move forward, the memories of Lauren and her betrayal lingered. I couldn't help but wonder what went wrong, where I failed, if I could have done something differently. These thoughts kept me awake at night, a constant reminder of the pain I was trying to heal from. One unexpected event during this time was when I ran into Evan, the guy Lauren had been seeing, at a local coffee shop. My heart raced, a mix of anger and curiosity bubbling up inside me. I debated whether to confront him or just walk away, but ultimately, I decided to keep my distance. There was no point in adding fuel to the fire, I had enough to deal with already. Instead, I chose to focus on my own growth and rebuilding my life. It wasn't easy, and some days were harder than others, but little by little, I started to feel stronger. The support from friends like Mike and Sarah was invaluable, reminding me that I had a network of people who cared and wanted to see me thrive. Just when I thought I was starting to find my footing, life decided to throw another curveball my way. It's funny how you think you're moving forward, building a new life, and then something from the past slams right back in to remind you that healing isn't linear. A couple of weeks after settling into my new apartment, I received an unexpected call from Lauren. I hadn't heard from her since she left, and honestly, I wasn't sure if I wanted to. My initial reaction was to ignore it, but curiosity got the better of me. Maybe she wanted to apologize, or maybe she was reaching out for some closure. I decided to answer. "Hey, Lauren," I greeted cautiously. "Brandon, can we talk?" Her voice sounded different, softer, almost vulnerable, which was a stark contrast to the bitchy, manipulative woman I'd known. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to tell her to leave me alone, to stay gone. But another part, the part that still cared deeply, wanted to understand. "Sure, what's up?" She asked if we could meet for coffee, claiming she needed to explain herself properly. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Maybe this was a chance to finally put the past behind us. We met at a local cafe, the kind with mismatched furniture and a barista who knew everyone's order by heart. Lauren arrived looking different, less polished, more subdued. It was almost like seeing a stranger. "Thanks for meeting me," she began, stirring her coffee absent-mindedly. "I know things ended badly, and I'm sorry for the way I acted." I crossed my arms, skeptical. "Sorry doesn't cut it, Lauren. You lied to me, cheated on me, and treated me like crap." She sighed, looking genuinely remorseful. "I know, and I regret it every day. I was selfish and insecure. I thought that being with someone else would make me feel better about myself, but it only made things worse." I wanted to believe her, to see the sincerity in her eyes, but trust was a fragile thing now. "Why are you telling me this now?" She took a deep breath. "I've been doing a lot of thinking. Therapy helped me realize how toxic I was being, not just to you but to myself. I'm trying to change, Brandon. I don't expect anything from you, but I wanted you to know that I'm working on myself." There was a moment of silence as I processed her words. Part of me felt a flicker of hope, while another part remained guarded. "I appreciate you saying that, but I'm not sure what's changed. Your actions spoke louder than your words." She nodded, understanding the weight of my skepticism. "I get that. I'm not asking for forgiveness or for us to get back together. I just needed to be honest and let you know that I'm trying to be a better person." Before I could respond, my phone buzzed with a notification. It was a text from Sarah, my friend from work, asking if I wanted to grab lunch later that day. I excused myself, leaving Lauren alone with her thoughts, and stepped outside to take a breather. As I sat on a bench, munching on a granola bar, my mind raced. Was this genuine remorse, or was she trying to manipulate me into taking her back? I didn't have the answers, but one thing was clear: my healing journey was far from over. Later that afternoon, lunch with Sarah provided some much-needed clarity. We talked about everything: my breakup, Lauren's sudden outreach, and the emotional turmoil I was navigating. "You need to focus on yourself, Brandon," Sarah advised gently. "Don't let her actions pull you back into a cycle that's already hurt you so much." I nodded, grateful for her perspective. "I know. It's just hard not to wonder if things could be different." She placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "They can't be different, not the way they were. But you can build something better for yourself. Something healthier." Her words resonated with me. I realized that while closure was important, it didn't necessarily have to come from Lauren. Sometimes, closure comes from within, from accepting what happened and choosing to move forward. That evening, I decided to take a long walk to clear my head. The city lights flickered above, and the cool night air was a balm to my frazzled nerves. As I walked, I reflected on everything that had transpired. The betrayal, the confrontation, the support from friends, and now this unexpected encounter with Lauren. I realized that life was unpredictable, filled with unexpected twists and turns. But amidst the chaos, there was a sense of resilience growing within me. Each challenge was shaping me, teaching me to stand stronger and to value myself more. Just as I was about to head back, my phone buzzed again. It was a notification from a local photography club I'd joined a few weeks ago. They were hosting a weekend workshop on urban photography, a subject I'd become passionate about. I decided to sign up, feeling a spark of excitement for the first time in a while. As I walked back home, I felt a sense of purpose returning. There were still shadows from the past, but I was beginning to see a path forward, illuminated by new interests and the support of friends who genuinely cared. Little did I know, the next few weeks would bring even more surprises, pushing me to confront not just my past with Lauren but also parts of myself I hadn't fully acknowledged. Alright, so here I am, a few weeks into my new life, trying to piece things together one day at a time. Joining that urban photography workshop was supposed to be my first big step toward healing, and honestly, it's been a mix of excitement and nerves. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I figured immersing myself in something I love would help distract me from all the chaos Lauren left behind. The workshop was held at a trendy loft downtown, filled with other photography enthusiasts. I met a few cool people there, including Jenna, a vibrant woman in her late 20s with an infectious laugh and a knack for capturing stunning street art. We hit it off instantly, sharing tips and swapping stories about our favorite shoots. It was refreshing to connect with someone who shared my passion without any of the baggage from my past relationship. One afternoon, after a particularly inspiring session, Jenna invited me to join her and a couple of others for a photo walk around the city. I gladly accepted, eager to get out and explore. As we wandered through bustling markets, quiet alleyways, and vibrant murals, I felt a sense of camaraderie that I hadn't experienced in a long time. It was during one of these walks that the unexpected happened. We decided to take a break at a small coffee cart tucked away in a corner of a busy square. As I was ordering a latte, I heard my name being called. My heart skipped a beat. Turning around, I saw Evan, yes, that Evan, leaning against the cart, sipping his coffee and looking just as surprised to see me as I was him. Brandon? Wow, it's been a while, Evan said, his tone neutral but with a hint of awkwardness. I forced a smile, trying to mask the surge of emotions bubbling up inside me. Hey, Evan. Didn't expect to see you here. He glanced over at Jenna and the others, who were busy chatting about their latest projects. Yeah, I just moved to the city a few months ago for work. Small world, huh? I nodded, feeling the tension rise. Definitely. How've you been? Good, good. Just keeping busy with photography and work. You? Same here. Just trying to get back on my feet, you know? There was a moment of uncomfortable silence before Evan spoke again. Listen, Brandon, I wanted to apologize for everything that happened with Lauren. It wasn't my intention to cause any more pain. I was taken aback. I'd always thought Evan was just another guy Lauren used to sleep with, someone I didn't need to interact with again. I appreciate that, Evan. It's been tough, but I'm moving forward. He nodded, looking genuinely remorseful. If you ever need anything or just want to talk, I'm here. Before I could respond, Jenna came over, noticing the tension. Hey Brandon, everything okay? She asked, her eyes flicking between us. I forced another smile. Yeah, all good. Just catching up with an old acquaintance. Jenna looked a bit puzzled but didn't press further. Cool, well, we should get back to the group. There's still a lot of shooting to do before the day ends. As we left the coffee cart, my mind was racing. Seeing Evan brought back a flood of memories and emotions I thought I'd managed to keep at bay. Part of me wanted to confront him, to get some answers about what really happened between him and Lauren. But another part reminded me that dwelling on the past would only hinder my progress. Later that evening, I shared the encounter with Jenna over dinner at her place. She listened attentively, nodding sympathetically. "I'm sorry you had to run into him. Do you want to talk about it?" I hesitated, then decided to open up a bit. It just brought back a lot of stuff. I thought I was moving past it, but seeing him makes me realize how much Lauren's betrayal still affects me. Jenna reached across the table, giving my hand a reassuring squeeze. "Healing isn't linear, Brandon. It's okay to have setbacks. What matters is that you keep moving forward." Her words hit home. I realized that while unexpected events like running into Evan could stir up old emotions, they didn't have to derail my progress. I needed to focus on the present and the positive steps I was taking toward rebuilding my life. The next day, I decided to dive deeper into my photography. Capturing the city's essence through my lens was therapeutic, helping me channel my emotions into something creative. During one of my solo shoots, I stumbled upon a beautiful mural depicting a phoenix rising from the ashes. It struck a chord with me, symbolizing rebirth and resilience. I spent hours photographing it from different angles, feeling a sense of hope ignite within me. That weekend, Jenna organized a small exhibition to showcase some of our best work. It was a casual event, with friends and fellow photographers mingling and admiring each other's photos. I was nervous about attending, but Jenna encouraged me to come and support the group. As I walked through the exhibition, I felt a sense of pride seeing our collective efforts on display. People complimented our work, and I even struck up a conversation with a gallery owner who expressed interest in featuring some of my photos in a future exhibit. It was an unexpected boost to my confidence, validating the progress I'd been making. Towards the end of the night, as I was about to leave, I bumped into Sarah. She looked radiant, her smile as warm as ever. "Brandon. It's so good to see you here." I grinned, feeling a surge of gratitude for her unwavering support. "Thanks, Sarah. I didn't know you were into photography events." She laughed. "Not really, but Jenna dragged me here, and I have to admit, it's pretty cool. How have you been holding up?" We chatted for a while, and she could tell that things were looking up for me. "I'm really proud of you, Brandon. You've come a long way." Her encouragement meant the world to me. As I left the exhibition that night, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. Yes, the past was still there, lingering like shadows, but I was learning to navigate around them, embracing the light that was slowly breaking through. However, just as things seemed to be settling into a better rhythm, another unexpected event was about to shake things up even more. Alright, so just when I thought I was finally getting a handle on things, life decided to throw another wrench into the works. After the successful photography exhibition and the boost in confidence I was feeling, I was starting to believe that maybe, just maybe, I was moving past Lauren's betrayal. But nope, the universe had other plans. It was a chilly Friday evening, and I had just wrapped up a solo photo shoot downtown. I was feeling pretty good about the shots I'd captured, especially that Phoenix mural. It symbolized so much for where I was at. As I was packing up my gear, my phone buzzed with a notification. It was an email from the photography club, reminding everyone about an upcoming weekend retreat to a secluded cabin for some intensive workshops and networking. I had been considering it, and now I felt more motivated than ever to attend. The next morning, I decided to go for a run to clear my head before the retreat. As I jogged through the quiet streets, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Maybe it was the lingering stress or just the residual anxiety from seeing Evan again, but my intuition was screaming at me to be cautious. Halfway through my run, I took a shortcut through a park I rarely visited. It was a beautiful spot, with towering trees and a serene pond reflecting the morning sun. As I approached a secluded bench to catch my breath, I saw her, Sarah. Not Sarah, my friend from work, but Sarah Thompson, an old college acquaintance I hadn't seen in years. She was sitting there alone, looking just as surprised to see me as I was her. "Brandon? Wow, it's been forever," she said, standing up and giving me a hesitant smile. "Sarah." "Yeah, it has been a while. How've you been?" I replied, genuinely happy to see a friendly face. She hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Actually, I wanted to talk to you. It's kind of awkward, but I figured it was time to reach out." Confused but intrigued, I gestured for her to sit. "Sure, what's up?" She took a deep breath, her eyes darting around as if she was afraid of being overheard. "I heard about what happened with Lauren, and I just wanted to apologize. I had no idea things were going to go this way." I was taken aback. Sarah and Lauren were friends from college, but I never thought Sarah would get involved. "Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate that. It's been a rough time." She looked down, fidgeting with her hands. "I've been thinking a lot about it, and I realize I should have done something when I saw how Lauren was treating you. I was scared to get involved, but seeing you go through this made me realize I should have been there." I felt a mix of emotions, gratitude for her apology, but also a lingering bitterness towards Lauren for how she treated both of us. "It's okay, Sarah. I don't hold it against you." She nodded, her eyes meeting mine with sincerity. "I just wanted you to know that if you ever need someone to talk to or anything, I'm here." Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. It was a text from Jenna, reminding me about tonight's photography meetup at her place. I glanced at my phone, feeling a slight pressure to leave, but Sarah wasn't done. "Brandon, there's something else," she continued, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I've been dealing with some stuff myself, and seeing you struggle reminded me that I need to make some changes too. Maybe we could support each other?" I hesitated, unsure how much to share with someone I hadn't been close to in years. "I think that sounds like a good idea, Sarah. We can definitely support each other." She smiled, relief evident on her face. "Great. Let's stay in touch then." As I stood up to leave, I couldn't help but feel a sense of déjà vu. Here I was, reaching out and making new connections, just as I had with Jenna. But life has a funny way of mixing the old with the new, reminding us that healing is a complex journey. Later that evening, I arrived at Jenna's place for the meetup. It was a relaxed gathering with a few other photographers, sharing stories and tips over drinks and snacks. As we chatted, I couldn't shake the feeling that things were finally looking up. But deep down, I knew that life wasn't done throwing surprises my way just yet. After the meetup, as I was about to head home, my phone buzzed with another notification. It was a message from Evan. "Hey Brandon, it's Evan. I know things ended badly between us, but I'd like to talk sometime if you're open to it." My heart sank. Just when I thought I was moving forward, Evan was reaching out. I stared at the screen, debating whether to respond or ignore it. Part of me wanted closure, to understand what went wrong, but another part was terrified of reopening old wounds. Before I could make a decision, a loud crash echoed from my new apartment building. I rushed outside to see what had happened and found Mike standing in the lobby, looking frantic. "Brandon. You need to come quick. It's Lauren." My stomach dropped. After everything that had happened, I couldn't fathom why Lauren would show up again, especially now. "What's going on?" Mike looked shaken. "She was just here, outside your building. She looked really upset and kept trying to get in. I'm not sure what to do." A mix of fear and anger surged through me. I had worked so hard to build a new life, and now Lauren was back, disrupting everything. "Let me handle this," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. I rushed to my apartment, taking a deep breath to steady myself before approaching the entrance. Sure enough, there stood Lauren, her hair disheveled and eyes red from crying. She looked vulnerable, a stark contrast to the confident, manipulative woman I knew. "Brandon, please, can we talk?" she pleaded, her voice cracking. I took a step back, maintaining my distance. "Not now, Lauren. I'm not sure what you want." She looked desperate. "I know I messed up, and I'm sorry. I was wrong, and I want to make things right." I felt a surge of conflicting emotions, anger at her for causing so much pain, sadness for the relationship that was now in ruins, and a lingering spark of the love I once felt. "Why now, Lauren? After everything you did?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "I've had time to think, and I realize how much I hurt you. I don't want to lose you completely." Before I could respond, the sound of sirens pierced the air. Police cars and an ambulance arrived at the scene, drawing everyone's attention. Lauren panicked, stepping back. "I have to go," she said, grabbing her bag and backing away. A police officer approached, looking concerned. "Is everything okay here?" I glanced between Lauren and the officer, unsure of what to do next. "She's just upset. We're fine." The officer nodded but remained watchful. Lauren gave one last glance at me before hurrying away, disappearing into the crowd. The reality of her intrusion hit me hard. I stood there, breathing heavily, feeling like my past was unwilling to let me move forward. As the police took their reports, Mike arrived, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "Are you okay, man?" I nodded slowly. "Yeah, just another unexpected twist." He gave me a sympathetic look. "She's not going to stop, but you don't have to engage with her. Focus on what you need." As the evening settled, I returned to my apartment, the weight of the day pressing down on me. Lauren's appearance was a stark reminder that healing wasn't a straight path and that the past had a way of resurfacing when least expected. I realized that to truly move forward, I needed to set firmer boundaries and continue building my new life, no matter how much the past tried to pull me back. Sitting alone in my quiet apartment, I reflected on everything that had happened. The betrayal, the support from friends, the new connections, and now Lauren's desperate attempt to reconnect. It was a lot to process, but amidst the chaos, I felt a glimmer of determination. I wasn't going to let the past define me. I had come too far to let one more unexpected event derail my progress. Tomorrow was a new day, and with it came the promise of continued healing and growth. No matter what life threw my way, I was ready to face it head-on, armed with the lessons I'd learned and the strength I was discovering within myself. After Lauren's dramatic and unwelcome return to my life, I knew I had to make some definitive moves to ensure my healing process wasn't derailed any further. The confrontation outside my apartment left me shaken, but it also served as a stark reminder of why I needed to keep pushing forward. First things first, I realized I needed to set firmer boundaries, not just with Lauren, but with myself and the lingering emotions tied to our past. I decided to take a break from the photography club for a bit, not because I didn't enjoy it, but because every time I saw those photos or attended events, I was reminded of both the good times and the painful ones. I needed space to truly heal without constant reminders. I also reached out to Mike and Sarah, making it clear that while I appreciated their support, I needed some time alone to process everything. It was hard to pull away from people who cared, but I understood the necessity. Healing isn't just about moving forward, it's also about knowing when to step back and focus inward. Just when I thought Lauren had left my life for good, another unexpected event unfolded. A few days after that intense evening, I received an anonymous package at my new apartment. Inside was a handwritten letter from Lauren. I was hesitant to open it at first, part of me wanted to burn it without reading, but curiosity got the better of me. The letter was surprisingly heartfelt. Lauren apologized again for everything, not just the cheating but also the emotional manipulation and the lies she had spun throughout our marriage. She admitted that she was struggling with her own issues and that her behavior was a reflection of her internal turmoil, not just about being too pretty to be faithful, but deeper insecurities she couldn't articulate. She expressed regret for how she treated me and acknowledged the pain she caused. There was no plea to get back together, no excuses for her actions, just genuine remorse. Reading her words was like a balm to a wound that I didn't even know I was still carrying. It didn't erase the past, but it provided a sense of closure I desperately needed. With that letter, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. It wasn't easy to read, and parts of me still felt the sting of betrayal, but it was a step toward truly letting go. I decided to dispose of any remaining evidence of our life together, old photos, souvenirs, anything that tethered me to that painful chapter. Instead of retreating entirely, I leaned into my passions even more. I resumed my photography with a renewed sense of purpose. Capturing moments, especially those that reflected resilience and beauty amidst chaos, became a metaphor for my own journey. Each click of the shutter was a reminder that I was creating something meaningful out of the wreckage. As time went on, I started to open up again, albeit cautiously. Jenna remained a great friend, and our shared passion for photography deepened our bond. We collaborated on a few projects, and through her, I met Alex, a fellow photographer with a gentle demeanor and a knack for seeing beauty in the mundane. Our conversations flowed effortlessly, and I found myself smiling more genuinely than I had in months. Alex didn't push for anything more than friendship initially, respecting the space I needed. But as weeks turned into months, our connection naturally evolved. We went on photo walks together, explored new parts of the city, and shared stories of our pasts, not just the good, but the messy and painful ones too. It was refreshing to connect with someone who understood the complexities of healing and growth. Looking back, it's crazy to think about how far I've come. From the depths of betrayal and the chaos of an unfaithful wife, to finding new passions, building meaningful friendships, and opening my heart again, it's been a tumultuous ride. But through it all, I've learned invaluable lessons about resilience, self-worth, and the importance of surrounding myself with genuine people. I still have moments of doubt and nights when the memories feel too heavy to bear, but they no longer control me. Instead, they serve as reminders of my strength and the progress I've made. I've come to understand that healing isn't about erasing the past but about integrating it into a narrative that empowers rather than defines me. One evening, as I was editing some photos from a recent shoot, Alex knocked on my door with 2 cups of coffee. We sat together, sipping our drinks in comfortable silence, surrounded by the vibrant images that adorned my walls. "Brandon," Alex began softly, "I just wanted to say I'm really proud of you. You've been through so much, and you're handling it with incredible strength." I smiled, feeling a warmth in my chest. "Thanks, Alex. It hasn't been easy, but I'm getting there." He reached out, placing his hand over mine. "You deserve happiness, Brandon. And I'm here to support you in any way I can." In that moment, I realized that my journey wasn't just about overcoming the past, but also about embracing the future with hope and openness. With friends like Jenna, Sarah, Mike, and someone like Alex by my side, I felt ready to face whatever came next. So, here I am, sharing the final part of this story. It's been a wild ride, filled with unexpected events and emotional upheavals. But through it all, I've discovered a resilience I didn't know I had and built a support system that truly cares. To anyone going through something similar, know that healing is possible. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, embrace your passions, and give yourself the grace to grow. Life will throw curveballs, but each one is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and emerge stronger.